Alright, so the last video we installed WordPress, we set everything up, and we also created a bunch of folders and files for our plugin. Alright, and then we added this comment block here, which is going to initialize the plugin to display in this plugin manager area in the WordPress backend. Alright, you can see it right here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set up the scripts file. Alright, before we can do that, we need to include it. Alright, we have it in the includes folder. So what we're going to do is go into the main file here, and let's say load scripts. You should keep your files heavily commented so that there's no confusion when you or somebody else goes in and tries to update the code. Alright, so here we're going to say require once. Okay, so that's how we can include a file. It's just a standard PHP function. And then we're going to say plugin dir path. And then we want to pass in _file _. And what this, did I put die? It should be dir. So this right here is going to reference our plugin folder. Alright, so it's going to bring us up to the actual Facebook footer link folder. Alright, and then from there we want to go into our includes folder. Alright, so we're going to just concatenate on a string here, and we're going to say includes slash let's say Facebook footer link scripts.php. Alright, so that's going to bring it in for us. So let's go ahead and save that, and just to test it, let's go into the script file and just make a die function, which we need PHP tags. Alright, and we'll just, in here we'll just say working. Alright, now if we reload, okay, so it wasn't included because it would have stopped and gave us this message. So let's see what's going on here. Oh, we didn't activate it. Okay, so we didn't activate it, and sometimes when you edit the plugin core files, this will actually deactivate by itself. All right, so let's just go ahead and click activate. Once we do that, let's see, plugin cannot be activated because it was an error. Okay, now there is an error because we put in the die function, but you can see that it is working. So if we go ahead and remove that, that should fix that error. Alright, so now if we click activate, now we just get plugin activated, which is what we want. Okay, so we know that this is connected. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add our scripts. So let's create a function, and we'll call this FFL _add scripts. Alright, now let me explain what this FFL is. So with WordPress, when your site uses plugins, basically every function in every plugin is available. Alright, so if you just have add scripts, and then let's say this Akismet plugin also has a function called add scripts, things are going to get messed up and they're just not going to work right. Alright, so it's really important that you prefix all your functions and variables. Alright, and you want to use something that probably isn't going to be used anywhere else. Alright, it's not too smart to use something like WP because other plugins might use that. What I do, I mean, there's no rule, but what I usually do is use the first letter of each word in the plugin name. Alright, so Facebook footer link. So we're going to be using FFL for our prefix. Alright, and then in here what we're going to do is call a function called WP_enqueue style. Alright, so enqueue QUEUE style. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to include a CSS file. Alright, and I should actually show you guys the documentation. So if we just do a search for WQ NQ script, actually this one here, style, and we go to the WordPress codex, and you can see that this is a safe way to add a style sheet to the WordPress generated page. Alright, and then this is the usage here. First parameter is going to be a handle. Okay, a handle is a name used as a handle for the style sheet as a special case. If the string contains a question mark, the preceding part of the string refers to the registered handle, and the succeeding part is appended to the URL as a query string. Alright, so this can basically, you can decide what you want this to be. So we're going to just say FFL dash main style, okay, because it's the main style sheet. The next parameter is going to be the source, okay, so this is the location of the file. So let's go ahead and we're going to use a special function called plugins URL, and actually I don't want quotes here because it's not a string. And what that'll do is it'll get us to the actual plugins directory. Alright, so from there we want to go into our plugin. Alright, so to do that, we're just going to concatenate on that, and we're going to go to /Facebook footer link, and then we want to go into CSS and then style.css. Alright, so that'll go ahead and include the style sheet for us. The next one we want is WP NQ script. Alright, so we're going to say WP NQ script. And this does the same exact thing except for JavaScript files. Alright, so we'll call this main script. Alright, and then we're going to use the plugins URL. Alright, and then we're going to say /Facebook footer link. Alright, and then from there we're going to go /js/main.js. Alright. So that's going to be our add scripts function. Now, at this point, it's not going to do anything. It's not even going to include the scripts because we haven't placed it in the, I guess, in the WordPress flow. Alright, so we have to use what's called a hook. Alright, we have to create an action that uses a hook. And there's a lot of different hooks. Let me see if I can find this here. Let's say, oops, tools, hooks. Okay, plugin API hooks. Let's see. Okay, so there's two things we can use here. We can use an action or a filter. An action is we're going to create something totally new and stick it in WordPress. A filter, we're going to take something that's already there and then change it. So you can use add action or add filter. In this case, we're going to want an action. And then if we go ahead and look at that, these are all the actions that we can hook into. Okay, so like registered taxonomy, when the taxonomy runs, WordPress loaded, this is after WordPress is fully loaded, after the style sheet's loaded, after the admin bar. Alright, so there's a bunch of them. Alright, so you might want to look through those. There's special admin ones and there's front end ones. And of course ones that run on both sides. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say add action, and we're going to put in here the action we want is the NQ scripts. So let's see if we can find it here. That's right here, NQ scripts. Alright, so what we want to do is this right here, add action, and then we want the WP NQ scripts. Okay, so the hook is the first parameter. The next parameter is the name of our function. So it's going to be FFL add scripts. Now if we go to our front end and reload, and then do Control U so we can look at the source code. Let's go down here, and you can see right here we have plugins, Facebook footer link, CSS, style CSS. Alright, so we know that that's being included. And then the JavaScript should be down here. Right here, Facebook footer link, JS, main.js. Alright, so we know that that's working. So this file is actually all set. So we can close that up. Now the next thing I want to do is we're going to want to add some content to the end of our post, alright, our single post. Okay, so to do that, we're going to create a new folder in, a new file in the includes folder, and we're going to save it as Facebook footer links dash content. Alright, you want to name your files after whatever is going on in that file. Alright, and we're going to be editing and adding content. So let's go ahead and add our PHP tags, and then we're going to create a function. Let's call it ffl-add footer. Alright, and that's going to take in content. And then what we're going to do is do a return, let's say return hello world. Alright, now in order for this function to run, we're going to have to add a filter this time. Okay, last time we did add action, now we're doing add filter, because we're taking something that's already there and changing it. Alright, the content's already there, we're going to just we're going to hook in and change it. Okay, so the action we want to use here is actually called the content. Okay, so when that loads, then we want to call our FFL add footer. Alright, so let's just see what that does. Actually, before we can do that, we need to include it in our main script. Alright, so let's copy that, and this is going to load content, and we're just going to change scripts to content. Alright, so if we go back and reload, now we're getting hello world. Alright, and you'll notice that the entire article has disappeared. Alright, that's because we've replaced the content with hello world. Alright, and that's obviously not what we want. We want to add it to the end of the already existing content. So what we're going to do is return the content, and then we're going to add on the whole hello world. Alright, so to do that, we can concatenate with a dot. Alright, so now if we go and reload, we get all the content back, and at the very end we get our hello world. Alright, so we know how to add content to the end. This obviously isn't going to work. We're not going to want to just stick a string at the end here. We're going to want to put it into a variable. Alright, so let's get rid of that, and let's just add footer output. Alright, and then what we'll do is we'll build up this variable to hold all the content that we want to spit out. Alright, so let's say footer output, and let's set that. Let's first do a horizontal rule. Okay, so we have a line, and then we'll put everything under that line. Alright, so if we save that, you can see we get some padding here, and we have the line. And then what we're going to do is just add on to this. Okay, so we'll say footer output, and to add on to this, instead of just replacing what we already have, we're going to use dot equals. Okay, that's an append, and we're going to append a div, and we'll give it a class of footer content. Alright, and then down here we're going to need to close everything we open. Okay, so we're going to put an ending div here. Alright, and then now obviously if you have whoops, that should be footer output. If you have a lot of markup that you want to include here, you're probably not going to want to do it this way. But we're not putting that much. We just have one more line. Later on, we're going to be setting up a settings page, and we're going to need to do kind of this same thing. And then what I'm going to do is show you how to use an output buffer so that we can actually just write straight HTML and we don't have to put it in variables and all that. And then at the end we can include it. Alright, but for now we're just going to do it this way. Alright, so right here what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of the WordPress dash icons, and there's actually a Facebook icon, so we can use that. So we'll say span class, and let's say dash icons, and then we want dash icons dash Facebook. Alright, and that'll give us a little Facebook icon. Then we want to end that span. Alright, and then after that, let's say find me on Facebook. Alright, and what we're going to want to do is wrap the Facebook text in a link. So for now, let's just put in the straight Facebook link. Alright. And we're probably going to want this to open in a new tab, because we want them to navigate away from the site. So let's put in target equals underscore blank. Alright, now let's take a look at this. Alright, so now we have a nice little footer here with our Facebook link. If we click it, it's going to bring us to Facebook. Alright, so this is kind of the end result that we want on the front end, but we don't want to have to hard code the Facebook link in here. Alright, we don't want users to have to actually come in and edit the plugin just to change a link. That's kind of pointless. So in the next video, what I'm going to show you how to do is to add a menu item down in the settings. Okay, so we'll have a settings menu item called Facebook footer link, and then we'll actually add some settings to that, and one of the settings is going to be the Facebook URL. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do that next.